Check 1, 2. Can you hear me? Hi. Let's see. How did I get in the productivity space? Well, it was a very, very interesting chain of events. I have a huge background in technology and music, and at one point, I thought that there must be something really interesting we do with music that can help people focus. And I met with one of my best friends, and we were talking about putting together an engine that would be the first ebook reader engine where you could read a book and get this amazing Hollywood soundtrack to it. And then we realized that when people were testing this, they actually preferred the music that was very neutral in cues and not like the big romance music or not the big happy music. So when we tested this with Amazon, the big test that came back is that people thought that music that would help them work would be much more beneficial than just music to support something like reading or casual input. So we decided to restring the engine into something that's just for focus. So the productivity space for me came from years of music, tech, design, and then as an entrepreneur trying to fulfill a problem that people were having for focus. Can you hear me? Focus at Will Labs has some really interesting things going on right now. I can't talk too much about it, but we're doing a collaboration with National Geographic, and we're building a brand new channel that is complete hybrid of classical music and electronic music. And it's destined to be one of our greatest stations yet because it takes all the research we've been doing and puts it into one thing. And the beautiful part of making classical music with electronic beats and blaps is that you can very, very, very carefully design a focus bubble that has the musicality of Baroque, like Mozart and Bach, with the specialty dynamic design of electronic music that will get your brain engaged with certain pulses. My favorite productivity hacks. All right, I got a good one for you. Well, I'm a big believer in meditations in the morning, and I think it's really, really important to get into a regiment where you can get like the Pomodoro technique, where you are working really hard and dive in deep for 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. Our office here in Los Angeles is near the beach, so one of my hacks is I set the timer, it goes off at 50 minutes, and I do an 8-minute run around the block as fast as I can, then get back in, and it really recharges my brain. That's one of them. Another one I learned from Dave Asprey and the Bulletproof crew is high doses of omega-3s, fish oils, and there's some great products out there that'll do that, because I think a lot of people don't understand the nutrients that are involved with keeping your brain in its optimum. So there's some great hacks from Jim Quick and Dave Asprey about what do you eat. So one of my favorites is omega-3s. I do a bulletproof coffee, and I have experimented with many, many vitamin B supplements. Let's see, next question. Best place to travel to reset? Great question. I have found any place in nature and the mountains works really good for me. So I'll try and do a weekend out, or you can just zip out and get a vast view. For me, it's all about the vast panoramic view. So the largest beach, the biggest mountain range. I've recently went to Cambodia and to Vietnam, and there is a island off of west of Vietnam that I highly recommend called Phu Quoc, and there you'll find some of the most peaceful, most inspiring completely remote beaches where you can get your game on and really, really, really groove in. Can focus at will be used to help people sleep, or is that counterintuitive? Oh, God, great question. Well, one thing we're learning from all this research and science at Focus Will is that we can, in fact, lead and lock people into brain states. And we've been doing much more research around what gets people focused and alert and on task persistence and deeper concentration and flow state. But we're realizing that with our delivery system, we can actually send the right kind of content that would help people sleep. And I'm actually speaking with a very well-known author and doctor who's very interested in making a program just for that. And I can tell you more about that, but not right now as it's still in development. But yes, parts of Focus at Will could help you sleep. I would recommend our water channel and our Focus Spa channel in low intensity. Ash Kumra asks, what is your favorite type of meditation? Well, I have my own regimen for meditations, and I've adapted this from a few different gurus and thought leaders. And what I've actually done is wrote down my affirmations for the morning and for the day and some of my goals. And I'll put that into my iPhone, and I'll actually read a script. So I have a verbal affirmation meditation that I go through in the morning just to reassure my big vision and my goals and what I'm going for. And then I actually let that roll out and go into just a deep, soulful reflection meditation. So in the morning, I usually take between 20 and 40 minutes. And for me, it's just as important as a business meeting or anything else, because by getting that tuned in to my goals, it keeps me very productive. Getting very tuned in with my soul, it helps me make sure I'm on path to receive all the things that are coming in to help support my mission. Okay, Vanessa asks, you have a very successful company. What is one thing that you've learned that you wish you knew when you started? Many things. When I started, let's see, I think the biggest thing is learning how to fail and learning how to fail fast with grace. So it's about reiteration. I think a lot of people hold on to the concept that they're going to make the perfect thing, the perfect life, the perfect product, the perfect solution. And what happens is you put something out, and if you don't get feedback, maybe the public doesn't actually like it. So we had to do a few different pivots and Focus it well. And I think one of the biggest things to learn is, what do they say? Fail fast, fail often, keep reiterating. So, let go of the concept that it's going to be perfect. I wish I would have known, because I took a lot of stuff personally and Focus it will with the music. Is it going to be good enough? And it's what I've learned is get it out, get feedback, iterate, make it better. And as you keep learning and developing in your goal and your mission, everything will line up to make it happen. So release the stress of being a perfectionist. Let's see, Vincent says, there's some interesting correlations between productivity, music, and coffee. Please explain. Good one. So one thing we talk about when we study focus is, knowing more about who you are. What kind of person are you? What kind of personality type are you? And if you think of it like this, there is a bell curve of energy. Some people are lower on the curve. Some people are a little higher on the curve. And some of your friends are a little bit more chill. Some of them are super hyper, right? So you would think that the people who are really hyper need to chill out. But actually, what kind of gets them in focus mode and keeps them in chill mode so that they can really get their game on is more energy. And this is reflected in why they drink coffee. So one of the questions some psychologists actually ask when they're trying to find out what brain type you are or what kind of focus type you are is, hey, how do you react to coffee? If you have a cup of coffee, do you get jittery? Does nothing happen? Does it really put you in flow state? Or maybe even puts you to sleep? And that has a lot to say about who you are and what brain type you are. Let's see here. Vanessa says, what is your morning ritual like? It's interesting to see how successful people start their day. Well, it's a great question. I actually just redesigned mine. And It's kind of a long one. I mean, right now I'm actually getting up at 6:30 and I'm dialing in a 20-minute journaling session. And what I'm really doing there is recapping all the great things that happened yesterday and trying to make the meaning of what they came in for. So in other words, wow, randomly I ran into so-and-so and we had to talk about making the next, brain focus program about this and that. How does that relate to today? So a recap of yesterday, goals for the morning in a journal. Then I slip into meditation mode, and like I just said, I have some verbal affirmation meditations that I just made. I also go into just a relaxed, like Shavasana meditation, almost like you would after yoga. And geez, that's already like about an hour. Then I try and get up and do from there about 15-20 minutes of vinyasa flow yoga, just really basic, keep it stretched out and ready for the day. Now I find if I don't do this, I become kind of reactionary. So I'll roll into my meetings and it'll be like, oh, there's a lot going on. But although it takes an extra hour, hour and a half to get a good routine on in the morning, what I find is you feel so solid and ready so that whatever shows up feels like a gift. Feels like you are really ready to adapt to the information that's coming in and how you can use it to your advantage and be more productive. I hope that helps. Also, I do a super smoothie that is, geez, I got about 5 or 6 different ones, but it's plant proteins, super greens, cold pressed juices. I know, as I'm hearing myself, I'm like, this is so California, and my family teasing me, of course. But yes, the super greens, the proteins, all to feed the brain in the morning. I love a big fat omelet and stuff on the weekends, but I know that I'm a lot more sluggish after I eat that and carbs. So I keep the morning routine super lean and mean. Someone asked, will Labs ever include lyrics in the music? Actually, great question and good point here. So the reason that there are never lyrics in Focus at Will, and it's completely instrumental music, is because research shows, live brain scans, if there are vocals in the music, what happens is your vocal parts of your brain, the language parts of your brain, light up and actually bog down your CPU. So for kids, anyone listening to music with vocals in the background, what you don't realize is that there's part of your brain saying the whole time you're listening to it, wait a minute, is somebody speaking to me? Should I be paying attention to this? So a certain part of your brain is constantly going, wait, maybe we're supposed to be listening to this? I don't know. Should we listen to this? So it's really key, if you're trying to focus, to use instrumental music. We've kind of proven it. So no, we won't have lyrics in our music for Focus. Let's see, next question. What have you noticed about changing your diet, exercise that increases productivity? Great question. So changing the diet, I mean, there are so many people preaching it and how important it is, but I can tell you from my personal experience, I grew up in an Italian family. We eat pasta, we eat a lot of carbs. I went through different weight changes. I'm pretty thin right now. And what I've got from the right diet and exercise is definitely increased focus. So if you are eating a lot of sugars and caffeine, what happens is you do the dip, and especially for my body type. So a lot of it is finding your body type, but when you learn what it is, and geez, I've been to even a couple of Chinese doctors that have their theories, and a couple of dietitians and nutritionists. And for me, how it works is if I eat a lot of carbs and sugar, I'll feel good, but then I'll do the sugar crash. And for me, being an entrepreneur, you want to get in that 8 to 10 hour day. After you take your breaks and everything, it stretches out. So you have to have sustainability, longevity. So the right diet is going to be something that's a lot more balanced in proteins, greens, a lot less carbs. And I noticed that it gives me almost 2 to 3 times more energy. If I eat wrong, I want to sleep. If I eat right, I can really, man up, face challenges, keep things going. Because let's face it, there's sets of meetings, there's new concepts, there's so much that you really need your brain power and energy for, that if you're not feeding to sustain that, you're really working against yourself. Okay, you mentioned about flow state. Can you elaborate on how can people get in flow state to increase their productivity? Well, flow state is defined in many different ways. There's a couple awesome books on flow state on Amazon that I highly, highly recommend. And again, my research has been more around how music, stimulus, and things will help people induce flow state. So I can tell you the most about that. So it's almost like a meditation. It's almost like time disappears. It's when those ideas are flowing, when you can be the most articulate. Think of it when you have just totally rocked it in a presentation, when you're sitting with your friends and really able to articulate, emote concepts, ideas you've been thinking about. Flow state is when the athlete hears the gun and the finish line ends and it's over and they won the race. How do you get there and stay there? Well, one of the greatest ways is to actually start some habits and rituals about inducing flow state. And I've done a little, some woo-woo science and some real science around this too, but here's a couple interesting woo-woo science that I've been experimenting with that I think you'll like it a lot. Essential oils have the effect of giving you a peace state. So if you're looking at flow state is around alpha state, so it's brain waves between alpha and low beta are where some people are in their biggest jam. And to get there, things like exercising before, it's no coincidence. In fact, yoga was actually developed to move the body to get you ready for flow state. So sometimes just a slight yoga workout, a couple jumping jacks, something to move the body first, and then sitting down, and for me, it's reviewing what the result is I'm looking for and why. Because when you have the result and the why of what you're going for, what happens is it really keeps you on track. So I build a couple things into my flow state when I know I've got to get ready for a presentation on Youngry. I sit down, first move the body, get still, and think about what's the result I'm looking for, what communication am I trying to really convey, and why. When I put the why with it, it really motivates me to keep on track and stay on that game. I hope that helps. Let's see, and a couple scrolled by. Who is a go-to source for productivity hacks? I so recommend Jim Quick, amazing trainer. He does quick brain training. Dave Asprey, amazing whole world and universe of body hacks. Those two will give you tons of information. Let's see, next question is, does Focus at Will have a blog people can tune into? Yes, there's a blog. It's a little bit hidden in the website, but you can find it poking around in there. And on there, our lead scientist, Julia Mossbridge, who's an expert in music, sound, audio, and how it affects humans' consciousness. In fact, she is the leading expert in the world on this. So I'm just super excited to be working with someone on the concepts where we pull the science and then actually make the channels from them. So you can go to the blog there, and she has many articles. I might even have one here. Yes, how to stop training yourself out of focus is one of Julia's latest articles, and she talks about there, question yourself when you find yourself distracted. Turn off all your notifications. Get out of hypervigilance mode, which means that get out of this high reactionary mode. And again, that comes down to designing your plan, your purpose, and your why. Because when you have your day set and that stuff's really in place, you're a lot less likely to get distracted by shiny objects when you're trying to nail the big goal for the day. So yes, blog at Focus at Will. It's not on the front page, but if you slip through a couple of the points, you'll be able to find it no problem. What's the easiest productivity practice people can put into action today? Great question. I think the biggest, easiest, especially in today's culture, and I'm reading this amazing book by Adam Ghazali called The Distracted Mind, and he is the leading neuro researcher about this. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from this very long scientific journey, and he's an expert in brain imaging and mapping and watching how people make decisions in real time, is that we live in the age of distractibility. And I'm going to rant about this for a minute. So as hunters and gatherers, our behaviors are based on finding food. And there's a real similarity to how, as a species, we are reacting to finding information. So anything that is going to give us information, our smartphones, our devices, we heard this put many ways, but Ghazali says this really interesting in this book I'm reading. Think of it like this. Our quest for food is for survival, but yet in our brain, our mirror of food is actually information just as much. So if you're going to send me a text message, a link to an article, anything where I can get more information, especially if you're an achiever, boom, you're there, you're gone. So it's very important to understand the science behind your own distracted mind. Realize that if you don't set yourself up for success by turning off alerts, alarms. First thing I do when I get an app is turn off all the alarms. I don't need anybody sending me information. I'm sure I can get it later. And, you know, talking with your friends, saying, I'm in lockdown mode for a couple hours, putting things in sleep timer mode or alerts off mode. That is the biggest thing you can do for the day, because anytime something jumps into your productivity stream and interrupts your attention span, when you switch tasks, you are going to take 18 to 20 minutes to get back into a flow state. So think about every text message can literally cost you 18 to 20 minutes of your day. That's a big rant, but I think that's a biggie. Turn off your alarms and get productive. Let's see, next one. Do I have any nightly rituals that help with productivity for the next day? Yes, I'm a firm believer in journaling at night, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the biggest journalers in the world, Thoreau, Leonardo da Vinci, Einstein, people who collected their thoughts, helped to put a meaning around what their day meant, gives a closure for the day. It gives you that sense of accomplishment and review and summary. And I think what it does for most people also is it is the closing chapter of the book for the day and actually helps you sleep. The next day, that information after integration in becomes part of your journey for the next day. So my ritual at night, and I try and stay on this, of course, I fall off the wagon because I like to stay up sometimes late for creativity, but I try and wind down. Try and get, there's apps that even change the color of your displays for night displays so that they become warmer and they're not at blue like daylight. And I try and exercise in the evening early so that you're not energized at night. So it's about a wind down and a closure for me. And I find the journaling helps a lot. Let's see, nightly rituals. Yeah, that's about the biggie. Okay, top entrepreneur books that you recommend. Oh, I'm glad you said that. I even have my Kindle around here somewhere. I have a great book list. I'm going to go through a couple of these. Okay, obviously the 4-hour work week. I'm reading a book called Deep Work, which is amazing. I would not miss The Power of Focus by Les Hewitt. Amazing work. He's one of the top coaches, top executives. Let's see what else is on here. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Procrastinate on Purpose, which is a great way to look at how not to react to anything. And by focusing on one big pillar that you need to knock out, whether it's your finances or something else, nail that first and then put everything else around it. Let's see, Happiness is a Choice is a little bit more on the philosophical side, but really good. Here's the biggie, The Art of the Start. Art of the Start was the pinnacle book for Will and I to start Focus at Will. In fact, I sent 2 copies to both of us from Amazon, and we read it, and that's where we came up with understanding how to build a business that helps people, how to come up with the focus around the mission and the mantra of the company, Guy Kawasaki's Art of the Start is the first book I would recommend for anybody. I hope that helps. Do you have any productivity apps that you recommend? Well, of course, I recommend Focus at Will. I love the Pomodoro technique. There is, let's see, there's a number of apps that actually lock you out of your browsers. I think they're called Control. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. But I've got a couple apps where when I'm in lockdown mode, I click them and then I can't go anywhere. The browser's totally in lockdown. So for me, that really helps because it keeps me away from shiny objects and websites that are actually sucking my time. I use a couple entrainment apps. There's some apps you can download that will give you binaural beats. Let's see. Let me take a look at my phone. Oh, we're actually on my phone right now. I'll take a look on what else is on my browsers. Yeah, I think the biggest one for me is timers. You know, especially when I was freelancing before this company, it was a lot about measuring where my time was going. So I use timers and I use browser lockouts. Okay, any more productivity apps? Let's see the next question. What has been the most successful in regard to marketing for Focus at Will Labs? Good question. Well, you know, there's never one answer to marketing. And boy, we really grew up a lot in this business understanding marketing because I think Will and I are actually a little bit more product people. So we had to really become much more marketers and team with people who are marketers. So the most successful, you know, I think one thing that really gave us a big jump is, well, two things. There's a book by Ryan Levesque called Just Ask. And when you start to query and survey your audience about exactly what their pain points are, you understand how to alter your product to solve those, and you understand how to speak to the people more about the problem they're having and engage them. So a lot of marketing we're finding is actually a customer journey and engagement. How can we help you? What kind of problem are you having, Focus, and how can we help you? So I think that was a really biggie. What else? The surveys. I'll tell you what really was effective. We have a little bot that tells us when people sign up. We ask them an anonymous question, and we just ask them, hey, why did you sign up? And we don't know. We don't track it. We don't know where it comes from for who, but it gives us an idea about where people's thought patterns are and what's going on and why they would even want to try something like Focus at Will. So if you're looking for a couple successful marketing tricks, I would say learn how to ask better questions about who's interested, and give people an opportunity to give you feedback immediately on your website about what they like, what they don't like. Because once you know who they are and what they like, it's a lot easier to help them. Okay, next question is, what is the one piece of entrepreneurship that you'd give for the next generation of entrepreneurs? Oh, I've got it. This is one of my public rants, and it's going to become part of my public speaking platform. And I think that one of the challenges, one of the total drags of startup land right now is that there's an investment round, there is a prove the concept round, there's an MVP, there's these different stages, and classic is about 6 to 9 years. In fact, some of our investors saying, well, this is great, you guys are going, you know, you're on the 13-year go, it's all going to be great. And I look at that as an idea person, and I'm like, well, why can't we do this in 1, 2, or 3 years? Why can't we have it so organized so that people are investing in early rounds and out, and that the entrepreneurs can have a 1 to 2 to 3 year? Why can't we quickly think about what a concept is for a business, prove it in 3 to 6 months, have it running in a year, and have it successful in another year. Why does this take so long? And I think there needs to be some reshaping and reforming about how that process goes down. So I want to leave for the next entrepreneur generation a new school of thought around shrinking the timeline for entrepreneurs to prove their ideas faster. I should have said that first. So I want to leave the legacy for the next generation of entrepreneurs about shrinking the timeline down so that thoughts can become things quicker and the economy can move faster. Okay, I think that's it. Anything else? Any more questions? This sure was fun. I look forward to another one.